This is one of the toughest things I've ever had to do in my life. And what I mean by that is walking with Christ. By far, it is one of the toughest because when I have to make a conscious decision on no matter what it is that I do, how I walk, even how I behave in everything, because you have to literally make up your mind what you're gonna do, how you're gonna be, the person you're gonna be, the woman you're gonna be, the man you're gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're gonna be like everything else or everyone else, or you're gonna be someone else different, or you're gonna be the same like you used to be, or you're gonna change yourself. You know, and a lot of times people do not want to walk like that. That's why a lot of people turn away, because for one, it is hard. I'm not gonna lie, it is hard, because there are times, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there are times you will find yourself almost like in old habits, where like not necessarily thinking, because it can also go as thinking too, but what I mean by as in like behaviors, as in, let's just say something happens and you want to slap somebody, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you was a person who would put your hands on a person or curse a person out, So now, since you've been with Christ, you have literally, you know, you have God in mind, and God would literally correct you on these behaviors, on these patterns, to where before you were just loose with the lips, you know what I'm saying? And loose with the hands, you know what I'm saying? And you were acting like Muhammad Ali out there, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you was like him, but I'm just saying you was acting like him. You was going, So I'm just saying, like, but God had to correct you in a lot of things. Like, you can't be putting your hands on people. You know what I'm saying? You can't be speaking to people like that. And that's one thing about it. Even now in the Christian community, I see a lot of people think speaking people with their mouth the way it is, they think it is boldness. That's not boldness. That's not boldness at all. That has nothing to do with. I know my grandmother used to tell me. She said, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it." And even as a child, I did not understand what she was saying. I was like, "Grandmama, why?" I said, "Because what I'm saying is the truth." She said, "I know what you're saying is the truth, baby." She said, "But," she said, "it's not what you're saying it." She said, "It's how you say it." She said, "When you say it, it's something about it that strikes you to your core." Now, even as a child, I did not understand what she was saying. It wasn't until I got to be older that I realized what my grandmother was saying was the truth. Because a person could say something to me, and I can take that same word that they said to me and the same thing and turn it around to them. And it's like, oh my goodness, like they act like I done something, like I didn't hurt them to the core. But technically, I did, because the words that I speak, I know that they hold power. And that's what I learned. I cannot speak to people the way how they speak to me. I have to learn to hold, and God taught me to hold my tongue, because I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. It is very, very hard, because there are things that people say to you. Trust me, you want to say back to them. You want to say even worse. But when you are with Christ Jesus, you cannot go around speaking things like that, because for one, it is evil. And not to mention, just because they spoke evil to you does not, and curse you, does not mean you curse them back. You pray for them. Even though I have a video out there talking about, to where people don't understand, to where it literally hurts you, or it hurts me. That's the only way I can explain it. It hurts me, not physically, but spiritually, because there are things out there that I want to do. I want to react, but I can't react. And I don't even know how to even explain it. But all I know is the spiritual, because I'm fighting my flesh, because there are things I want to do in my flesh, but my spirit is saying, no, no, no. So I have to obey that. Well, technically I don't, but I do, because I know God is allowing me to go through these things for a reason. And the Lord is not going to leave me wrong. So I know that. So the Lord wants me to go through the process to train me, because for the one, like I said, my mouth was something reckless. I had no self-control over my mouth, and I would speak things even though it was the truth, but I would speak, and my mouth would be reckless, and people would shut up. And I noticed that, and I didn't understand for the longest, like, because I didn't know who I was, and I didn't understand like why my mouth was such a weapon. But then when I came to understand why it was, I stopped speaking that way. Even though people would take a dart and throw it at me, I learned what to do with it. And not to mention that I pray for them as well, and I allow God to handle these people. I let God deal with these people. You have to know who you are. And I find the most people who do the damage in the world are people who don't know who they are. That's why they're out there creating chaos. That's why they out there with no self-control. They out there doing things because they don't know who they are. And they believe they don't have a purpose. And they're just because in their mind they don't have a purpose, they don't want anyone else to have a purpose. And if you have a purpose, then they want to destroy your purpose because they have no purpose. But that's in their mind. Everyone has a purpose, whether it's good or bad. That's what people don't understand. They just have to figure out what purpose it is, which one it is. And you got to understand that everyone, I mean everyone, you need to find out what it is and what your purpose is and who you are. That's the difference. But a lot of people don't want to find out because why it is, it's hard work. It's very hard. It do take perseverance. You do have to strive for things in this life. You do have to want to become better and be better and do better and be a better human being, be a better woman, a better mother, a better father, a better everything, a better husband, a better wife. And I'm not saying it's easy because it's not. And you can't listen to the voices. The many voices are out there, the voices of the enemy, the voices of people, the many voices that surrounding you, the voices of family, the voices of friends, the voices of loved ones, the voices even of your husband or wife, especially if they're leading you down a path to destruction. You have to listen to the voice that leads you to the path of righteousness. Like again, I'm not saying it's easy because it's not. You have to fight all those things. You have to fight and stay constantly fight. And it is a daily fight. It is a daily struggle. Now, I'm not saying everybody's life is like that, but there are people out there that life is. Because everybody's purpose is not the same. And that's why people need to understand that everybody's purpose is not the same, and think of accordingly. Just because your life went a certain way does not mean that your life and your purpose is the same as someone else's. And stop speaking like that. We got enough things in this world to be worried about, and people downplaying everybody else, and everybody else struggles and everything else, what somebody else dealt with and has been going through and is going through in life. We have enough people putting people down. And they're speaking things. You have people even within the church that's speaking evil against people who are in the church. You know what I'm saying? They're using the very mouth that they're supposed to bless with, they're cursing with. And they say it's of God. No, it's not. That's why you have to check yourself. Hold yourself accountable, even if you don't have no one around you to hold yourself accountable. And God will literally check you. The Holy Spirit will literally check you as well. You're going to feel some sort of way about something you spoke. So that's why you have to be careful what you're speaking and how you're speaking. Because none of us are perfect. There are times, I'm going to tell you, a lot of us, we all speak things we shouldn't. And then when you do, you ask God to forgive you, because especially right then and there, because you're going to know automatically when you spoke something you had no business speaking it. You're going to know. You're going to feel it. You're going to know. You're going to know. You're going to know. Just like the other night, this keeps coming up, so I guess God wants me to talk about it. And I was in the midst of spiritual warfare, and I was out and about, just in the midst of a park, just praying. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was just out there praying. And all of a sudden, I felt like this something resistance come up against me, and the thing is when you speak, you have to. I believe, like I said, my grandmama say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that's why you have to learn to formulate your words correctly. You got to be careful what you say, because instead of me saying something, I meant something else, but it came out another way. And it's almost kind of like destroy the enemy. And technically, really, that's not what I meant. And as soon as I said it, I was like, oh Lord, I am so sorry. Please forgive me, because that's not what I meant. I'm talking about, something else. And like I said, I'm not going to go into details about the conversation, what I was talking about. But the thing is, that's not what I meant. I didn't want God to destroy people per se, but I was talking about the enemy rising up, like the spiritual enemy. That's what I was talking about. But I had to catch it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you do. And you have to rectify the situation and actually own up to it and ask God to forgive you and actually speak clearly on what you meant. Even though God may know what you mean, you need to speak it, because when the enemy can take that and use it against you. So that's what I did. I turned it around, and I actually spoke against that, because I'm like, I know the enemy can take exactly what I was speaking and use it and be like, oh, she meant destroying people. That's not what I was talking about. That's not what I meant. But in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle, that's how it came out. And so I asked God, I was like, that's no different basically than what what John and James, his brother, you know what I'm saying, what they did with the people. And I'm like, that's of another spirit. So you have to catch it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people got to understand. When Jesus corrected them and told them, you don't know what manner of spirit that you're speaking of, that is coming from you. So that's why you have to catch things like that. When people call down certain things from and a lot of people and they were with God. So a lot of people think that automatically or whatever, you know, that it's automatically demonic. That doesn't mean that it's a demonic spirit. It's just mean that there's a spirit that's trying to attach itself to you and can use you and can to speak through you. It's whispering in your ear. So you got to catch it and renounce it and you know what I'm saying, and pray against it and ask for forgiveness, because that is a spirit. It's a dark spirit. That's why you don't ask God to, you know what I'm saying, for different things like that. That's why you are supposed to pray for people, and that's what you do. So we all, you know what I'm saying, especially when you're tired of things and things are coming up against you, you know what I'm saying, you still have to pray, because that's the first time that has ever happened. And I called it, and I called out quickly, you know what I'm saying? And let it be that, because, you know, the enemy will definitely use things like that against you. That's why you got to recognize it. You have to definitely recognize it, because we're all growing. And if I ever hear a person act like that they didn't arrive to a situation with God and act like they didn't know everything, and they right there, I avoid them, because nobody knows everything. We are all growing. And the thing is, we're gonna keep learning. And me personally, I hope God keeps teaching me to the day He brings me home. I don't ever want to stop learning. I don't ever want to stop growing. So when people act like they didn't figured everything out and they just arrived, and but you mean to tell me the apostles and everybody else didn't learn everything, but you, on the other hand, and all the prophets of old, you know, they kept learning to the day that God took them home, but you know everything? Yeah, you don't know what spirit you come in either. So that's what I'm saying. You need to check yourself, because nobody knows everything. And you're not right about everything. That's why you always have to be able to check yourself and check your spirit, check your heart. Your heart is the main thing. It is your heart, because the enemy, especially if you have a good heart, the enemy will try to come in and try to put things in your mind so you could speak it. And that's the main thing. So, because the enemy wants you to end up cursing yourself. And that's why you got to catch these things when they come out of you, because when you know it's not you that's speaking, it's not you who wanted them things, you have to catch it right then and there and pray against it and ask the Lord to forgive you, because you know that is not you. That is not of you. You wouldn't even, you know what I'm saying? If you wasn't up with God, then yeah, but you are of Him. So you have to catch things. So I hope a lot of this, it can help someone, because let me tell you something. None of us is perfect. I know a lot of people come off and act like that they're perfect. They're not even perfect. A lot of people, they get on the platform and then they get on there and act like they got everything figured out. They don't sin. They don't do nothing. They got everything figured out in life. And then as soon as they get off the platform, chaos erupts in their home. Because why? They don't want you to know the truth. But see, the thing is, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. I struggle each and every day. I haven't got everything figured out. I'm trying. I'm striving. I'm doing what I can possibly do, not only for me, but for others, because I know this walk is not about me. It's about other people as well. My life was not even about me. Everything that I've been through in life was not about me. And I know that now. So it's not necessarily about bettering myself for me. It's those who come after me as well. And to help them and guide them so they can seek Christ, just like I'm seeking Him. So they can, so to show them the way, to point them the way to Him. It's not easy. And long as people keep on sitting here lying to themselves and saying and making people think that it's an easy walk, that's why a lot of people are going to continue to turn away, because they making people think making people think that it's easy, when in fact it's not. It's hard. And this is the one thing that I would tell anybody: do not compare your walk to nobody else, because if you do, you're going to fail every single time. What you do is keep your eyes on Jesus. And this is even hard. Keep your eyes on Him. Because as long as you have your eyes on Him, and even though you may stumble and you may fall, you get right back up. Because as long as you got your eyes on Him, you can never go wrong. The thing is, the Lord is the one who forgives. You know what I'm saying? He the one who sees. He the one who knows. He knows everything. But as long as you get your eyes on your neighbor, on everybody else, you're going to see what they're doing. And you're going to constantly constantly go down the wrong road, because there are people out there who are misrepresenting Christ. Okay. So you need to have your eyes on him to see how he did things. That's why when I read the Bible and everything, I see how he operated, what he did, what he spoke, and how he did things. And that has helped me a lot in life versus how I was taught growing up and everything, which never helped. It actually added problems to my life. And it will make you feel like you're in a cage. You're bound, because let me tell you something, with Christ, you should not feel bound. The enemy binds you. The enemy oppresses you. The Lord, you are free. So it should not feel like a bunch of rules when you are with Christ. You should feel free. Whom the Lord says free is free indeed. So you should feel free. There should be no limitations on you. You should not feel restraints upon you. And a lot of times when I hear people preaching, I have to turn from them because all I hear is rules and regulations. But when Christ is not like that. Even though, yes, he do have things that you have to abide by. And basically love is the number one thing that people forget. You have to love the Lord as you will love yourself, like love him above all things, and then love your neighbor as you will love yourself. That is the law. That is the law. And when you go by that, everything else falls into line. Because for one, if you love the Lord, put him first, and you love him above everything else, and then you love your neighbor, you are not going to kill, you're not going to steal, you're not going to destroy, you're not going to harm anybody. So therefore, that is the law. I understand that. You have to understand that is everything. That is the law. That is everything. You're not going to do all those other things. You're not even going to think about doing it. You're not even going to want to do it. And if you do it, it's going to hurt you because you did it. And you're going to be corrected. And you're going to understand that it was wrong that you did it. Because why? The love of Christ is in you. The love of God is in you. There is one thing that I don't understand either. Like I've noticed like the change that when God has come into my life, like the total person I was versus I am now, because I did not have the love in me. And I'm being honest, because I saw the world through this lens that was so darkly because of everything that had happened in my life. I saw it through this dark lens, and I saw the world as evil. I saw everything in it evil. And I met this person, and this person told me, they said, it's not the world that's evil, it's the people in it. And it wasn't until many, many years later I understood what they were talking about. The world itself is not evil. The world is actually beautiful, and the things in it is beautiful, but it is certainly the people that is in it. And I understood what they were talking about. But it took many, many, many years in order for the blinders to come off of me, in order for me to be able to see, because I was blinded. I was blinded by the darkness. I was blinded by the pain. I was blinded by the suffering. I was blinded by so many things that was going on in my life. I could not see correctly. I could not see through the lens of clear glasses. They were actually filtered. They were dark colored glasses. So that's what I was looking through. I couldn't see correctly. And that's what anybody else that's out here in this world. You cannot see correctly when you see things in life through a dark colored lens. You have to get yourself cleansed out first in order for you to see correctly, in order to help other people as well. Because you have to fix yourself first and help yourself first in order for you to help someone else. You can't go out there and be talking about things of the world and what's wrong when you haven't even corrected things even within yourself. It starts with you. Actually, Michael Jackson was actually right. He said it starts with the man in the mirror. He was correct. It starts with you. You have to get things correct in your life, in you, but go to the Lord, because that's the only way, honestly, the only way, the stable way to keep it grounded. Because I'm going to tell you something, without the Lord, I would not be grounded. I would not be who I am. I could not stay grounded. I would be definitely unstable like I was. I would be unstable. And I would most likely be, I know I would be in prison. And I'm not speaking evil. I'm just telling the truth, because the Lord knows there's many people out there just like me that has a testimony similar to mine. Because without him, the Lord knows what, the enemy knows exactly what people like me are capable of. But the Lord sustain us. The Lord keep us. The Lord grounds us. Because when the Lord tells me to do something, I know I have to respond in order to do it because I know He's telling me for my own good. I don't look at it as a set of rules. I don't see it as that. I know that He loves me and He cares about me more than anybody has upon the face of this planet in my whole entire life. He's the only person who ever has. So I know that. And I keep to it and I stick to it. Is it easy? No. Okay. Again, no, it's not. No, no, it's not. So don't allow the people or the enemy or whatever to come and try to tell you who they think you are and try to push you around and all this kind of stuff because their opinions don't matter. It's just their opinions. And most importantly, it's more of what they think about themselves versus you. It shows more about them than you. And it's what's in them that comes out when they come against you. When they get a whole bunch of people that rise up against you, it shows more or less what's in them. It shows what's in their heart, what's in their mind, what's in their spirit. It shows a lot. There's a lot of things that's going on in this world, and there's a lot of people. There are people who are broken, there are people who are hurting, and then there's people, and I call them the others. And these are the others who have in life went a total different path than being broken. They are on this level of they just don't care about no one and no nothing. And they're on the path of killing, stealing, and destroying. They are destroyers of this world because why they chose who they want to align themselves with, whether they know not, which is of Satan. And they are his children. So that's why you need to understand the difference between a person who is hurting and a person who is crying out for help and doing all that versus a destroyer, because there is a big difference between them. And it's about time that people need to learn, pay attention, because it can definitely, definitely save your life. Be blessed.